Hi guys, let me introduce you to a personal project. I want to use archinstall and a pure ArcoLinux ISO to install chadwm. You've seen that I have lots of new ways to install chadwm on Ubuntu, Linux, Mint, Void, etc. Right? Nobara, all of them. And any of them ArcoLinux variants. Now, this morning I looked up the code from let's go to here to Brave about archinstall. So archinstall, if you type github.com, so that's a link you can just remind or remember. ArcoLinux archinstall, that's the URL. That's where the script is that lets us install ArcoLinux. So when you go to arcolinux.org, you download an ISO, the official ISO, but there is also here something that caught my eye, and that was build ISO. So they have a script that sets me up to have an ArcoLinux system. Although they say this is not this is an unofficial, right? Let's zoom in. Unofficial ISO for development and testing, etc. But basically, if you look at the code, it is just an ISO from ArcoLinux that comes out. Now, I went and looked at more stuff, so more things that are in here, examples and all that. And I got a what if. What if I use ArcoLinux install.com, Eric Dubois this time, right? Eric Dubois, and then well, just let's do this. And the last one I've put online is called archinstall. So I made a copy paste of the code of archinstall, and I thought, what if, right? Control C. What if, let's go to the desktop, we can remove all of those. What if I am gonna git clone, this is mine, and that's the other official one. That's the official one. So this is Eric's. It's not an ArcoLinux project, right? It's just for fun to learn. And maybe, right? Maybe somebody says, whoa, I want to have that. Because in the end, we'll have an ArcoLinux ISO. Black screen, no column. But what I've done is, the difference between the original one and mine is this. That's not important. I've added chadwm.py. So I made a copy paste of one of the files. So they're all the same now. So file filters. I made a copy paste of Awesome or BSPWM, one of those, right? And I started reading. It's a Python code, and it has a list of packages. If you want Awesome, you're gonna need the package Awesome, Gritty, Xorg, Xinit, Xterm, and so on. So I thought that might be interesting. What if I make a chadwm just like that? And I take all my packages that I want, right, in here, put them in here. The challenge will be the stuff that's not on the repo of ArcoLinux, right? There's just two that we have, I think core and extra. Those two libraries, those two repos are there. All the rest, well, lolcat and all that, so things are just not there. So I need to tell the system there is more, right? That's a language thing, that's not important. Not important either. Package build is not important either. Why is different? They started already with a new version. Cool. So build ISO, I've changed this one, and this is me thinking, what do I need to do? I need to have a new pacman configuration, a new pacman telling there is the ArcoLinux repo, there's ArcoLinux third-party repo, and there's an extra large. No column bars, nothing, no ISOs, right? Not necessary, no configuration. I just put the pacman.conf, the one I want to use, in a certain folder, and again I could do it in another certain folder, right? The future system. And then I'm gonna build everything. That's what I've changed. That's one thing. When I build it, it will know there are the packages. I am thinking there was one other thing that I had to do. Oh yeah, of course, the pacman.conf. I had to provide this. So this is the R official from ArcoLinux, pretty much, right? So this is our stuff. Had to change it a little bit because I don't want to be messing with keys. So signav level is never, and I don't want to be messing with the mirror list that needs to be installed. For now, that's the way it is, and later on I will run ArcoLinux Nemesis, and the keys will come in and everything will be set the way it should be, right? But this is just me seeing, using a tool. Can I add? This also means, can I edit, right? If you are a BSPWM fan, but you think it's you can add more things to it, or you should add more things to it, just keep typing, comma, and then enter, and then just follow the code, right? And off you go, changing and adding things. And in the end, I get this archinstall. I can build the ISO, so you can download this thing. You can press build ISO, and it's actually quite fast. So it's removing all things that were already in temp. So that's a good thing. And then it says you can't perform this operation, you need to be root, right? So it can remove things, so that's something, but building, yeah, you need to be root for it. And off it goes. And maybe you can see this if we go up, right? It knows 3 more than the official ArcoLinux. So that's the thing, right? We get an ArcoLinux live environment. You just follow the archinstall. You'll see in the desktops that suddenly there's a chadwm in there, right? You select it. The list of all the packages will be installed. He'll know where it is because we've got repos. We know where, there's no signing, and off we go. And as they say in English, Bob is your uncle, right? So we need to wait for this ISO to pop out. It will come out eventually in the temp arch live work, and the ISO I think is gonna go in here, right? Or no, I think out. So an out folder, and in there will be the ISO, and then we'll have to continue our video afterwards. So it's a fun thing, right? Sometimes you find code online that you say, hey, I can reuse it or change it, update it. I mean, if Budgie is your thing, but you want to have more things, when you are going to use Budgie, then you go in here and you go change the code. So archinstall, default profiles, desktops, here are all the desktops. You can change these guys. Or in my case, add things. What I did is copy paste, well, compare, right? You know the drill, compare. Have a look, 3. And then you see what is important. And you need to have an unique names, because I was complaining at some point in time. It says I did a copy paste, right? And I forgot to change this one, the BSP. This needed to be changed to chadwm, and this needed to be chadwm, and basically that was it. And yeah, we can maybe decide to have, probably going to decide what we want. We could have SDM here, right? That's a good idea. So while doing this thing, there is Plasma, and Plasma ends with greeter SDM, so capital letter SDM. That's all I need to know. chadwm. If I want to have the same look, right, then this is okay. And what I like as well, for instance, it's finished, right? It's super fast. How fast, it's incredible. Building an ISO. And we have temp, we have archlive without, and there it is, right? 1.2 gigabyte. What I could add is the sudo pacman -s ArcoLinux SDM simplicity, right? That's our default package, this guy. Control C, ArcoLinux SDM. I can add it to the list of packages I want to have installed. Save. So when I build it again later on, SDM will be installed there. So the push goes to the internet. So I push this code, archinstall, this one. This is mine, right? SDM theme. Oh, that was not changed. That's, yeah, that was of course in, this one is here, that one can go, desktop is here, that's what we've changed. Super F5 folder, that's the one we were playing in, that's the official one. So when I find that's working, I'll just tell him, right? ArcoLinux SDM simplicity git, yep, and we're gonna use SDM as default. There you are. So now both of them are the same, and I can push this online. So if you build it and you select as chadwm, you'll get SDM. And that's the fun. Decision time. You make your own decisions. You put it on somewhere on GitHub, GitLab or something, and you build it. Let's test it out. Super F7. So basically we've got an arch thing. Choose a disk file. It's already pointing to the right direction, but it's mine. 3 o'clock, right? 2 minutes ago. Have to tell them to reboot into firmware, to go to the CD-ROM, and that's the official one. So nothing has been changed, right? We're following the archinstall rebuild or build script, which is basically make archiso, and some extra things to get the latest, very latest code in from archinstall. So hopefully the fixes if there are issues. And this is not normal. This does not look normal, but that's why we're using this particular GitHub version, right? It builds it. Archinstall is now the newest code ever. So first of all, load keys. So we get this and the archinstall. I go for an advanced. It's either this, or you go immediately to nano etc pacman.conf. Whoa. Nope. And go and change the panel downloads is now 8, right? So whatever you want. I'm gonna go for archinstall. It's just in the list and we'll just select it. So what is new? This is not new. We just follow the code from archinstall, but we do a few things. So I'll say when things are new. This is all good. Mirrors back pure and here we go, right? Type desktop, and inside desktop we'll have chadwm. So anything you would like to add, create a new file, or anything you want to edit, add new lines, add extra elements that you need to install. But remember, Pacman needs to get to it. So if it's on Chaotic AOR, you need to do some extra stuff, right? So this one, greeter, let's see what it does without saying anything. SDDM is by default, I thought, so let's see. '21. And that's the fun, of course. If we can make this a personalized archinstall, and there are other possibilities, you have to look into that. There are custom configs and core credentials. But you know me, right? Building ISOs. Can I get chadwm that way and have a pure arch? So let's wait. Well, let's just stay silent. I'll not pause so you can see what's going on. What we could do is the missing firmware, add that as well. Good idea. So we get always these messages about missing firmware. What was it again? Sudo pacman -s firmware something. No, it was not that. Linux firmware, that's the name. Linux firmware. It's a package and it's a long list of stuff. That's it. That's it. That's it. Making it CPO. We found it again. So that's the package I want to have. And if we remove it, that's it. It's a group of all kinds of things. So I'd like to have this one. Control-C. Let that go inside the archinstall, the default profiles, the desktop chadwm, and it's Control-V, it's with an M. So here. Voila. So next time around it will be installed as well. So we see less of these errors, which are not errors but just a nuisance. That's it. So what do we get if we install Arch like that? We can keep adding packages in. So we got ourselves systemd ArcoLinux. We're bleeding, first line. Told him to get SDDM. Let's see if it's LightDM or not. It is LightDM. And then login. Now, chadwm wouldn't be chadwm, right? If well, so what did I do? Control F1, Control F2, Control F3, TTY. Login. Because we're missing a scal with double L. Scal with double L is here because of the ArcoLinux tweak tool. And because of that, what we do, we launch, where is he? F5, F6, F7, F7. So Control F7 is where the TTY is for the graphical environment. And now, right, there's only one choice, of course. Now, I've copy-pasted stuff that we need from the etc scal with this scal thing to the home folder, and now it can run the run sh and so such more. So basically that's all I need to remember, to run a shell first. And here we are, we have a system up and running. What I have not done is think about drivers, right? Which this is a VirtualBox machine. I tried it out already on my NVIDIA to the left here. So NVIDIA DKMS. And that's important to figure out what exactly we need to launch the system. But as you see, we can have an operating system working just fine. We have maybe a render to make it a little bit bigger here. Oh, yeah, that's a PyChem. Ctrl-Alt-O. PyChem is that. Everything is working. So 1920, 1080. Poof, that's done. And off you go. And you can do a sudo pacman -s neofetch. Is that already installed? I could, right? I could install it. Just add it to the list. And here we are. We have ourselves an ArcoLinux system with the elements we've chosen, installed by with archinstall, ready to be changed again, ready to be built again as ISO, and play around with it. Again, tip, I lost a lot of time in the virtual machine, so do it immediately on testing on an extra PC or something, on a laptop, and test it out with normal drivers. I have only 512 packages. That seems very little, right? Very, very little. Now, for me, this is no fun. You know what I do? Make dir data. This is to bear. Git. It's installed. So it's part of the selection of chadwm. So I don't have to think about it anymore. github.com/ericdubois/arcolinux nemesis. Voila, cd, wait for it. Voila. And we just say 0, run it. chadwm is already there, so no thanks. Off it goes. Installing all kinds of things that I'd like to have. And it keeps on going and never ends. And that's the fun. And yes, there will still be things I would like to play with, but the basics of the basis is there. And maybe it's a what if that somebody can say, oh, that's interesting. We start with an official ArcoLinux ISO. People will say it's not the official ArcoLinux ISO. Sure, it's built with the official Releng, right? It's built with the basis of the official Releng. And where can we see that? So have a look at the code. Archinstall. So not built by us guys. This is not from us, right? But I looked at the code and said, this can be adapted to serve my purposes. So down here it says make archiso. Up here it says go get archiso. So basically, sure, right? Sure. It is the application of ArcoLinux with which we create something. We add a file of the packages of pacman, the repositories for pacman are there, and everything seems to work. All right, so to whom it concerns, to whom is interested in this what if, like again, it's not an ArcoLinux thing. We're not going to release this ISO. It's something for you, right? Personal ArcoLinux ISO with changes in the desktops that do exist, or add things that does not exist. And as you see, it just comes in the list. All right, enjoy.